A huge boom this season. There was a huge boom in merchandise and television viewership and sold out arenas and all of these.
Caitlin Clark has now broke that glass ceiling, and they should be bowing at her. She's going to create jobs and money.
From record-breaking crowds to record-breaking losses, the WNBA's journey post-Caitlin Clark is like a movie plot gone wrong. But here's the real question. Can this league pull off another Cinderella story? Or is this game over for women's pro basketball? Let's rewind a bit. Before Caitlin Clark showed up, the WNBA was in trouble. Empty arenas, low viewership, money problems. You name it, they had it. It was rough. Then boom, Clark arrives and everything changes. This rookie comes in and suddenly the Indiana Fever's ticket sales jump by 265%. That's insane. And get this, 2.54 million people tuned in to watch one of her playoff games.
2.5 million for Game 2. To put that into perspective, the average viewership of this first-round series alone has already surpassed any WNBA final.
The WNBA went from struggling to thriving, just like that. It was a total rags-to-riches story. The league was finally getting the attention it deserved. But you know what's crazy? This fairy tale was about to hit a major plot twist. That plot twist? It was more like a meteor strike. Just when everyone thought the WNBA had found its golden ticket, Clark dropped a bombshell that shook the league to its core. What could make a superstar walk away from a league she single-handedly revived? Picture this: fans scrolling through their phones, eyes wide in disbelief as they read the news. Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who had breathed new life into the WNBA, was leaving.
The WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season.
Just like that, the league's fairy tale ending went up in smoke. The announcement hit like a thunderbolt. Social media exploded with reactions ranging from shock to anger to utter confusion. How could this happen? Why would Clark walk away when she was on top of the world? But here's where it gets really crazy. The financial impact of Clark's departure was like watching a championship trophy shatter into a million pieces.
To hell with the WNBA. They're nothing. They're nobody. No one's watching.
They lost $50 million.
We're talking about a reported $50 million loss for the league. That's not just a dent in the budget. That's a full-on financial earthquake. And if you think that's bad, wait till you hear about the ratings. Playoff viewership down by a whopping 50%. It's like half the fans decided to change the channel all at once. The WNBA went from must-see TV to maybe next time in the blink of an eye. But it's not just about money and ratings. Clark's exit sent shockwaves through the entire league. Top players who thought they were set for life suddenly faced salary cuts. Some of them started looking at overseas opportunities, wondering if the grass might be greener and the paychecks might be bigger on the other side of the ocean. You know it's bad when the commissioner has to step in.
Caitlin Clark has now broke that glass ceiling, and they should be bowing at her. She's going to create jobs and money.
Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA's big boss, didn't sugarcoat it. She admitted that Clark captures a viewer we haven't had before. Translation: Clark wasn't just a player. She was a one-woman marketing machine, bringing in fans who'd never even watched a WNBA game before. Remember those packed arenas, the excitement in the air, the feeling that women's basketball was finally getting the recognition it deserved? Yeah, that all vanished faster than a fast break. Attendance numbers dropped like a rock, leaving teams playing in echoing half-empty stadiums. And here's the kicker: the players are mad, they're frustrated, they're upset, and they're not afraid to say it. After years of promises about better pay and better treatment, many WNBA stars are feeling like they've been left high and dry. It's like they were promised a seat at the table, only to find out the table's been sold to pay the bills. The players' frustration was just the tip of the iceberg. Remember when the WNBA was riding high? Those days are long gone. Now the league's facing a crisis so severe, it's making history, and not in a good way. You know things are bad when a professional sports league starts looking more like a sinking ship than a championship contender. The WNBA's financial freefall after Caitlin Clark's exit? It's worse than anyone could have imagined. Picture this: arenas that were once packed to the rafters, now echoing with emptiness. It's like someone hit the mute button on the entire league. Merchandise that used to fly off the shelves? Now it's collecting dust. The WNBA went from slam dunks to air balls in record time. But here's where it gets really crazy. The league that was once the golden child of women's sports is now facing bankruptcy. Yeah, you heard that right. Bankruptcy.
Now, believe it or not, there is far more panic coming out of the WNBA dump than there is coming from...
Despite their efforts, nothing seemed to reverse the tide. As they continue to lose millions,
It's like watching your favorite team go from first place to last in a single season. Clark's departure wasn't just a loss for the fans. It was like yanking out the power cord on the league's life support. Without her star power, the WNBA's financial situation went from stable to critical faster than a fast break. And it's not just about empty seats and unsold jerseys. Sponsors are bailing out like it's a sinking ship. Remember when having your logo on a WNBA court was a hot ticket? Now those same sponsors are ghosting the league faster than a bad Tinder date. But let's talk about the real victims here. The players. These are world-class athletes who've dedicated their lives to their sport. Now, some of them are considering picking up side gigs just to make ends meet. Imagine LeBron James having to moonlight as an Uber driver. That's how bad it's gotten. The league's desperate attempts to stop the bleeding are only making things worse. They're slashing player salaries left and right. It's like trying to fix a leaky roof by taking shingles off another part of the house. Sure, you might plug one hole, but you're just creating new problems. And you know what's really messed up? Some of the top players are eyeing opportunities overseas. Can you blame them? When your league's going broke, suddenly playing in a country where you can't even read the street signs doesn't seem so bad. The WNBA commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, is in the hot seat. She's the captain of a ship that's taking on water fast. Her admission that Clark captures a viewer we haven't had before is starting to sound less like praise and more like a eulogy for the league's glory days. Just when you thought the WNBA was down for the count, Sue Bird steps up with a game-changing perspective. She's talking about a whole new world for the league that could flip this whole situation on its head. What does she know that we don't? Turns out, there might be a silver lining to this cloud hanging over women's basketball. Bird's optimism isn't just wishful thinking. She's got some serious insider knowledge. She's pointing to upcoming broadcast rights contracts that could be a total game changer for the league.
It was about the owl ratings. So basically, the gist of it is that you can see here, Super talks about the overall viewership without Caitlin Clark.
The huge boom this season. There was a huge boom in merchandise and television viewership and sold out arenas and all of these.
Here's the deal. Right now, the WNBA has a hard salary cap. That means there's only so much money to go around, no matter how popular the league gets. But Bird's hinting at a shift to a soft cap. That's like going from playing with one hand tied behind your back to having both hands free. Suddenly, there's room for better player salaries and more financial stability. And get this, Bird's not the only one seeing the potential here. WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert is talking about all the new fan engagement and passion surrounding the league. She's saying, apathy is the death of a brand. In other words, all this drama and discussion, it might actually be good for the WNBA in the long run. But here's where it gets really interesting. Bird believes that the upcoming media rights deal could open up a whole new world of possibilities. We're talking expanded teams, bigger rosters, the works. This could be exactly what the league needs to keep its top talent from jumping ship. Now you might be thinking, that all sounds great, but what about right now? Fair question. The truth is, the WNBA's got something money can't buy. A passionate fan base.
Men, women, black, white, whatever. It was like, wow, there's something special about her and what she does and, raising the game.
But this is what she said. Viewership numbers with Caitlin Clark are astronomical. She is a big draw. She brings in all the things.
These are folks who've stuck with the league through thick and thin. They're not about to give up now. So what's the game plan? First up, the WNBA needs to find its next big star. There's no replacing Caitlin Clark, but there's always new talent coming up. The league needs to start scouting hard and building up its next generation of superstars. Next, it's time to get creative with fan engagement. We're talking innovative marketing strategies, more interactive experiences at games, maybe even some crazy promotions. Anything to get people talking about women's basketball again. And here's where you come in. Yeah, you. The WNBA needs its fans now more than ever. Every ticket bought, every game watched, every piece of merch snagged, it all adds up. This isn't just about supporting a sports league. It's about showing the world that women's basketball matters.
Surprised me, and I think the WNBA this year, the ratings are going to be great. And the better she is, the higher that league is going to climb.
Yeah.
I think it is completely disingenuous to say that Caitlin Clark is not the biggest draw in the sport.
So, here we are. The WNBA's been through a wild ride, from the highs of Caitlin Clark's debut to the lows of her shocking exit. It's like a roller coaster that just keeps going down. Empty arenas, plummeting ratings, and a league on the brink of bankruptcy. But you know what? It's not game over yet. Sue Bird's talking about a whole new world for the WNBA. Better media deals, higher salaries, maybe even new teams. Sounds pretty sweet, right? But here's the thing. It's gonna take more than just talk to save this league. That's where you come in. Yeah, you. Every ticket, every jersey, every game you watch, it all matters. The WNBA's story isn't over yet. The next Caitlin Clark might be out there right now, dreaming of saving the league. Will we still have a league for her to save?